It's a pleasure to have all of you here. My name is Antonella Marreiros. I'm a psychoanalyst. I am Brazilian. Today, I am living in Nashville, Tennessee, in the United States. Today's topic is very important. First of all, we're talking about from CCA, Center for the Clinical Arts. This is an initiative where my dear Chris Nelson and Jed Wilson, we began this collective together. It is a collective where we want to maintain a space for contact between psychoanalysis and other fields. And we want to keep this space to also have critical approaches to psychoanalysis. We want to learn how to listen and also to be silent and listen to what other fields have to offer us. Benoît is director of the IIP, the International Institute of Psychoanalysis. He is a professor of the postgraduate program at UNIS, a university in the state of Minas Gerais in Brazil. So I'm going to open up the floor to Benoît Le Bouteiller first, and then Martha Massin.
Oh, thank you, my dear Antonella. Thank you very much. I'm deeply happy to be here with you. Thank you, Antonella. Thank you, Jed. Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Maya, for the translation. Antonella, if there is any blind people here, you can tell me so we can describe what is happening on the screen. I'm very happy to be here to talk with you guys about topology. It's something very important for me. And I wanted to start sharing with you guys how this happened for me to have this interest in topology. The truth is that I started I discovered Lacan. I was exactly 20 years old, and I was totally, wow, fascinated. In the Brazilian sign language, we would do like this. Oh, that's a new word for Jed because Jed is studying a Brazilian sign language. He already knows signs. I was fascinated. I wanted to understand everything. I think that's what happened for me when I was 20 with Lacan. It's a little bit like someone who is going to discover when he's 20 a new country, and he's going to understand that he's going to stay there for good. It's exactly this who happened for me. I wanted to understand everything. I wanted to understand the people, the language, the languages. I wanted to understand the history, the geography of this new country. I wanted to understand. I wanted so hard, but I didn't understood nothing, of course. But even like this, I wanted to understand so hard that what happened? One day I understood. I understood a tiny little sentence. I was like this, wow, yeah, that's it. I understand. I understood this sentence. I studied really hard. So a few days after, what happened? I understood that I didn't understood. I thought that I was understanding something, but 3 days later, I had to admit that I didn't understood. And this day, I remember exactly if it was yesterday, when I understood that I didn't understood what I thought I understood. I wasn't sad or I don't know, depressed. No, I was happy. I was happy because there was something for me to work on. So I had this appetite, this desire more strong. So with Lacan, I studied many fields because I wanted to understand what was behind every sentences. Behind every sentences, I wanted to understand what was going on. So I started studying philosophy and then anthropology and then linguistic. I understood very quickly that etymology, it was crucial to understand what was going on behind Lacan's work. I started to study languages, languages that I'm still studying these days. Um, and even if I worked on several seminars, my first cartel was on about seminar 22, RSI. Even after I was doing like this, I started studying very early, the beginning, the very beginning. I started seminar 1, I read everything, and then seminar 2, I read all the seminar 2, and then seminar 3, doing like this, trying to understand what was behind every sentences. And who studied Lacan knows this very quickly in the first seminars of Lacan. He starts talking about topology. But at the beginning, I was like this, oh, wow, let keep this here, stay here. I will come back later. I will make my way and stay here. I'll come back later. Wow, I was ready to study everything, all kind of field, all kind of language. I was ready to study everything, to understand what was behind every sentence of Lacan. But I wasn't ready to dive into topology. That wasn't possible for me at that time. So I continued until seminar 20, 21, 22, 23. I heard, of course, about seminar 23. At that time, it was very often to hear about this seminar 23. I heard people very famous talking about seminar 23 or like this. Wow, I was impressed. I didn't understood nothing, but I said to myself, that's okay, relax. One day I will be there. I know that I will study this later. So one day, I'm not talking. I won't talk about this today. It's it's the magical dimension of life. I've met someone, and I deploy, and after this, I've met someone else, and one day I felt that it was possible for me to start studying topology and starting studying what Lacan was making with this. For me, it was like a new language. I started studying with mathematicians, and it was great. I love that. I love that. It was, yeah, it was really amazing, amazing. A physical sensation, very, a lot of pleasure. Yeah, a lot of pleasure. I woke up in the middle of the night with an insight. Wow, I think I understood. It was impossible for me to go back to sleep. I needed to go to study to try to understand a mathematical rule. Yeah, and to tell you the truth, it's like this until today. I still do this oftenly at night. I wake up and I need to study mathematical questions. So when I started studying this, and when it took many years, of course, and I started to read Lacan with very carefully, very carefully, on all these strange things that I put it on the backside, you know, these strange things that Lacan said about topology, and I keep it like this in the fridge. Yeah, I will come back. Stay in the fridge, I will come back. So when I went back to this, I understood many things. Of course, we don't have time tonight to talk about everything that I understood or I think I understood, but I can share with you a few things. First of all, I understood, and I'm pretty sure about this, that Lacan, his knowledge on topology, it was extremely superficial, extremely superficial. That for me, it was important because before that, I always heard and listened to a psychoanalyst very famous like this, talking about topology like this, as if Lacan was the genius of topology in the whole world, in the universe. No, that's not true. Lacan had, during many years, a knowledge extremely superficial about topology. That's the first thing I understood. I understood that it was extremely superficial, and I understood it's obvious. Well, if you study a little bit topology, you can see that during many years it's extremely superficial, his knowledge about topology, and comes and there is a moment of his work where you can see that he starts to study topology rigorously. He never will become a genius of topology, of course, but when he starts studying seriously topology, when he's going to call two young mathematicians and he's going to work almost every day until the rest of his life, is going to study extremely rigorously topology, you can see that he stops talking bullshit about topology and he starts to say things superficial, of course, because he's an old man studying a new field. So it's not a genius like this now, but you can see that he's trying to say things with rigor. It's not bullshit anymore. It's something he tries deeply to understand and to figure out. Something else that I think I understood, I'm still thinking this, but probably tomorrow I will understand that I didn't understood. That's possible, but I'm sharing with you guys what I think I understood today. And let's see tomorrow and after tomorrow. But today, I think I can say that the second thing I understood is that Lacan, when he starts to work really topology, so we are at the beginning of the 70s, he has a project, a crazy project. His project is to try a new modelization of what? Of the real. He tried, I think it's my way to understand Lacan today. I think he tried this at the beginning of his work with many tools. But at this time, when he starts to work for real topology, he has this new project to try to modelize with the topology the real of the human being. I'll talk about this project in 2 minutes. And the third thing that I think I understood at that time is that clearly there is in Lacan's work two periods, totally different. There is two paradigms, totally different. I understood it. It is my way until today to read this second part of Lacan's work, second part who starts slowly at the beginning of the 17th. In this second part, he doesn't try to say better what he already said during many years before. He says something totally new. I know that there is many colleagues and people that I really like. They don't think this. They think that when Lacan is going to try to work on topological objects in the seminar 21, 22, 23, usually when they say this, they stop at seminar 23. Colleagues are going to say, oh, Lacan, with the topology, he's going to try to say in a better way, in a way nice, wow, fancy way, things that he already said before. I don't think this. I don't think this at all. I don't agree with this, zero. I don't agree with this. I think that really he's going to try to say something totally new. So what is this thing totally new that he's going to try to say? I think that's my way to understand, to travel inside this ocean, crazy ocean that is Lacan's work. I think that he's going to make a bet, a crazy bet. He's going to make this bet that the real for the human being is topological. How can we understand this bet? I think that we can understand this bet with people before Lacan. Plato in his last book, Timaios in Greek, Timaios, he's going to talk about this. He's going to create a god, a weird god, Demiurge, Antonella. I don't remember how we said this in English. Demiurge. Yeah, that's the name of this strange god. And what Plato is going to say in this book is that there is one world, it's the mathematical world, and there is the reality, the world of reality that I can touch, that I can feel as a human being. And there is this strange God. He's got two hands. He's got one hand in this mathematical world, and he's doing like this. He's trying to understand the mathematical world with his hand. And in another hand, he's got in his hand, in his other hand, the reality, the world of the reality, and he's going to put in this hand exactly how it is written in this hand. It's great. It's great, this idea. And many years after, centuries after, Galileo is going to say exactly the same thing. He's going to say that the nature, the language of the nature is mathematics. Lacan is going to say exactly the same thing. It's a crazy bet. He's going to say that the nature, he doesn't talk about nature. It's Galileo who talks about nature. The nature of the real is mathematical. But when he says this, he talks about topology. The real is topological. I think that he makes this bet, and he's going to try these last years of his work and of his life to understand deeply what is topology, to try to understand this crazy bet that he's doing. So there is consequences with this bet, I think. There is many consequences. We won't have time to talk about all these consequences, but we can talk about a few of them. First of these consequences is that Lacan, during many years, you know that, when he talks about structure, he talks about neurosis, psychosis, perversion. When we come to this second part of his work, we stop talking about this. We stop talking about the structure with the neurosis, psychosis, and perversion. We talk about the structure of the real, which is topological. So we talk about topological objects. That's amazing, the consequences that this bet has with this. I'll talk about this very quickly, but I have to share this with you guys. I think, of course, that psychosis exists. I know this. I know that autism exists. I know this, of course. But to be true, I don't think that as a psychoanalyst, I don't have nothing. I have nothing to say about why this man, this woman is psychotic, why this man or this woman is autistic. I don't have nothing very bright to say about this. I have many things to say about how I followed Mr. X, who is psychotic. How I'm doing with Mrs. X, who is autistic. I have many things to say about this. But why this man or why this woman is psychotic or why she is autistic, with my little tools, psychoanalytical tools, the truth is that I have nothing very clever to say. Is this a problem? Of course not. That's not a problem. That's not a problem. Freud tried to understand with interpretations, and Lacan, during these first years of his work, he tried also. He built a lot of theories and a lot of conceptual tools to try to say why he is psychotic, why he is neurotic, why he is perverse. That's not a problem. But we have to admit, I think, that all this probably not isn't something that we need to continue to say. We have today knowledge that Lacan didn't have, and Freud also. I don't know. You know this Aristotle. He said things about physics, a lot of things about physics. I don't know if it's useful to keep to keep what he said on physics, because we know that it was totally bullshit. That means that we don't have to read Aristotle. That means that we have to throw him to the garbage. Of course not. Of course not. Of course not. Of course, we have to study very carefully. I think Freud and Lacan, the first Lacan, of course. But how do we study this? Is it a truth that we have to accept, like we will accept things in the church? Of course not. I don't think so. So I think that to admit that Lacan is going to do this new bet, there is consequences and I think, first of all, about this notion of this idea of structure. It's something very important, I think, in our way to think what is a psychoanalyst and how to understand also, and this is a second consequence, I think, very important, very deep, is what is interpretation. When we work with this bet, with this Lacan's bet, I think that the interpretation, that is how to read the structure, it becomes how to read the topological object that is behind the subject, behind in this real. So this is something totally different. That is very, very important. I think I probably will stop to my talk here. We don't have a lot of time, and I really want to listen to my dear colleague Marta, and also I hope we'll have a little bit of time to discuss and for the conversation. Thank you very much.